Let me clear the air on this one. In my road trip video, I got a comment about me promoting bad health with my fast food eating. I just want you guys to know that I would never promote eating fast food in my videos.
Welcome to Popeyes. My name's Corbin. We'd be interested in trying number one today.
Hey, what's up, man? Can I get a 2-piece with a biscuit and maybe a Diet Coke? I gotta cut back somewhere. Gạc bang ơi, Phúc Mob Day. Welcome to my channel everyone, and in today's video, Phúc sẽ giải thích 10 sự khác biệt giữa Việt Nam và Mỹ. Yes, in today's video, I'm going to talk about some of the differences that I, as an American living in Vietnam, have come to realize between America and Vietnam. Now, who am I? I'm Phúc Mob. I'm a YouTuber in Vietnam. I've been on TV over there, married to a Vietnamese woman, and also lived with her family for over 3 years. So I am aware of certain differences. Whenever I make a video like this, some people, they like to get offended. Nhưng mà nếu các bạn không thích ý kiến của Phúc thì Phúc không quan tâm. Make your own video. Yo sao, in all of my videos, I have English and Vietnamese available for all of you. Make sure you hit the CC as well as your desired language below to keep up with what I'm saying, because I like to switch a lot. And you might be wondering why the camera is switching and moving in frame. Well, I'll explain that a little later. Yo sao, đừng quên đăng ký kênh Phúc Mob Vlog, and bắt đầu nào. Đầu tiên, trong video này, Phúc muốn chỉ ra sự khác biệt giữa người dân Mỹ và người dân Việt Nam. The first part is about personal space. Now, it's not unlikely that people in Vietnam will come up to you on the street, people you've never met, rub your arm hair, put their arm around you, or even sub bụng.
You already gave me a shirt.
That's my biggest fan. Hello. Oh. Em có khỏe không?
Có, con khỏe.
Khỏe hả?
Dạ, khỏe.
Sao lại ôm vào?
Con fan của
Fan. In fact, this year I knew I was gaining weight because the amount of people that rubbed my stomach, it went up. So, a clear sign. Personally, I don't mind. After being there 8 years, I'm used to it. But an American coming over for the first time, it might come off as weird. And the second part is the appreciation of language learning. In Vietnam, even if you learn just a couple of phrases and you don't even say them right, people will say, wow, tiếng Việt giỏi quá, good job. Xin chào chị.
Sao nói tiếng Việt giỏi thế?
They really appreciate when a foreigner takes the time to learn their language and their culture. Whereas in America, if I tell someone, oh my goodness, your English is so good, I wouldn't even know you weren't American, that's a little phân biệt chủng tộc, borderline racist.
You think that's racist?
Yeah. So for me, I'm trying to get to the level of fluency. I'm not there yet, but I hope all of you can stick with me on my journey on this YouTube channel and my other social media platforms. Let's go to the next part. Thứ hai trong video này là hút thuốc, smoking cigarettes. In Vietnam, I was shocked at how many women were not smoking. It's actually estimated that only 5% of women in Vietnam smoke cigarettes, where 50% of the men smoke. Now that could be something to do with the pricing. Over there it's much cheaper, like $1 or $2 a pack, versus here, I don't know how much it is, but probably close to $10. Now in America, 16% of men and 13% of women smoke. But I happen to be in Kentucky, where it's #1 in the US for women smoking at 27%.
You're gonna be a man by smoking cigarettes? Now
in this part, I do want to send a message to all of you. If you are smoking, realize that your life will be much better, much healthier, and you will save more money if you quit. You don't need medical help, you just need it up here. I'm not trying to be đạo đức giả. I used to smoke. Đó là đạo đức giả. But I haven't smoked in almost 10 years because I realized I wanted to live a bit healthier. That being said, let's move to the next part. Thứ ba, ăn sáng, breakfast. Ở Việt Nam, bình thường là người ta ăn xôi, bánh cuốn, phở, bò ne, nói chung là bánh mì. Nhưng mà ở Mỹ, người dân Mỹ rất thích ăn cereal.
Stop feeding them sugar cereal.
Thách còn Mai, mẹ của Phúc, bảo vệ con nhiều và không cho phép Phúc ăn cereal có nhiều đường như thế này.
She's a good person, a good mother.
And let's be honest, the cereal that doesn't have a lot of sugar, nobody wants to eat that garbage. And in America, we'll also eat things like eggs and bacon or oatmeal, but the difference is we can eat eggs by themselves, and Vietnamese like to put them on rice or sandwiches. For me, it's kind of hard to choose because I like both places, but I am a sucker for bánh cuốn, so I will take that over American breakfast any day. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, I want to talk about houses and yards. So here in the state of Kentucky, there's about 4.6 million people in the entire state. You have to understand, I lived in Saigon for 8 years, and well, that's like almost 10 million people. 8.9 according to Google. But in America, we don't have cities that rival that outside of New York City. So I'm used to things being spread out, people having a yard, people having a house. And I'm lucky that both sides of my family, my wife's family and my family, have a nice plot of land and a nice house for me to hang out at while I'm back in America. Whereas in Vietnam, my wife's family's house, it's packed in this tiny little alley. We have so many neighbors, we can hear them doing everything from karaoke to whatever it might be. And here in America, well, generally, the suburbs look like this.
You move out here to the suburbs and you think it doesn't matter anymore?
Let's move to the next point. Real quick, I said I was gonna talk about what is making this camera move like it is, and it is the Zeppin Micro 2 Plus slider. My friends over at KingCom in Saigon, well, they gave me this slider to try out and feature in a video. Have to say, I'm really pleased with it. I've used sliders in the past, in fact, been sponsored by sliders, and while they're great, they're a mission to set up. This is just plug and play. You put the camera on top, connect it to your phone, hit the button, and you're good to go. So I'm able to film these spots with the camera going in and out, side to side. Don't need anyone helping. It's controlled, it's smooth, and it makes the video look that much better. Gangbang ơi, Phúc mà day. This next section is all about the vlogging. Now, vlogging in America and Vietnam is quite different. Why is that? Well, in America, most places won't let you bring a camera like this and make a vlog. And a lot of people that you meet on the street do not want to be featured in your video for fear of looking stupid or ignorant. Whereas in Vietnam, people don't really care. In fact, they will jump into my videos. I've had very few people in the last couple of years ask me to not be on camera, and that's fine. I don't include them. But for this job, being out in public, and as I mentioned in Saigon having around 9 million people, other people are going to be featured in the video one way or another. So doing this job is much easier and much more enjoyable in Vietnam versus America. Next up, I want to discuss transportation in America versus Vietnam. In Vietnam, most people call xe máy a motorbike. And the first year I was there, I paid $50 a month to rent mine and maybe $5 a week to fill it up. It was good, it was fairly reliable, and I liked it. After that, I paid about $250 for my motorbike that I had for a few years, took on road trips all through Vietnam, and insurance, well, that costed like $4 a year. Not bad at all. Let's compare that to America. During my time in America, I've always had a car. So when I was 15, I got my first car. Used to pay about $220 a month for the car payment, maybe $80 to $100 a month at that time for insurance, and gas, $30 to $50 a week, depending on how much you drive. Nowadays, gas is a lot more expensive. Insurance went up.
Inflation is obviously a serious problem.
But when it comes to which one I like more, I have to say Vietnam, for sure. Let me clear the air on this one. In my road trip video, I got a comment about me promoting bad health with my fast food eating. I just want you guys to know that I would never promote eating fast food in my videos.
Welcome to Popeyes. My name's Corbin. We've been arrested trying number 1 today.
Hey, what's up, man? Can I get a 2-piece with a biscuit? And maybe a Diet Coke? I gotta cut back somewhere. I wanted to use this example to talk about the difference between fast food in America and Vietnam. In America, fast food is possibly the cheapest option you can get for ready-made food. So it's very popular among poor people.
Problem is, you are exploiting these poor people for profit.
If you look at Vietnam, it's more expensive than the street food there, such as cơm binh nhân or soy or bánh mì. So if you eat there, it's almost like eating out. I'm not gonna say luxury, but it is more luxurious than some of the cheaper options. We don't have a lot of street food here, at least in the places that I've lived. So that being said, that is a huge difference between the two. The next point I want to bring up is the nail salon. Now, this is supposed to be about differences, but a similarity here is the Vietnamese in Vietnam work in the nail salons there, and they also work in the nail salons in America. Every time I see a nail salon, I pop my head in, start speaking Vietnamese.
You're not Vietnamese.
And always have a good conversation. But the difference I want to bring up is in the price. So I had no idea how much it costs to get your nails done until I started helping out in a nail salon here in America. It's ridiculous. And I asked about the prices in Vietnam. Well, nowhere near. So huge difference in prices here, and across many products and services here in America, it's much more expensive. The cost of living is much higher here. Just had to throw in here, the Phuc Mop merchandise is now available below the video. Pick up your fan gear today. This next one is a bit controversial, but as I said in the beginning of the video, facts don't care about your feelings. In Vietnam, some people, not all, and actually not most, but some people eat dog meat. On Pham Van Hai, I had a dog meat restaurant in walking distance. At my previous house, I had a dog meat restaurant in walking distance. And when we got Bingo in 2019, well, we had to make sure we kept him inside because they steal dogs in Saigon. Tại vì ở Sài Gòn, nhiều người cướp con chó, so không muốn con chó. Không ai cướp con gà. So we decided this little guy was going to be potty trained inside so we wouldn't have to suffer the misery of getting our dog stolen. And I'm not just making this up. Our next door neighbor had a Chihuahua. They came by with a basket, scooped it up while I was outside using the bathroom, came back with a ransom note. Now, of course, you're not going to get a lot of meat out of this thing, but people love their dogs and people will pay millions of dong to get them back. What made it worse, they stole this lady's dog a second time and charged her more the second time. So from 2019 up until this trip to America, well, we kept him potty trained and kept him inside. Now, that being said, Bingo, you still have to wear diapers because we don't need you peeing all over the wife's family's house, okay? For this next topic, Vietnam wins hands down. This is all about family and family structure. When I was an English teacher, I used to ask my college-age coworkers, when are you moving out? They look confused. They say, what do you mean? I can't move out until I get married. In America, we try to get out of the house as fast as we can. I lived an hour away from my parents when I was 17 years old in my own apartment, going to university by myself. Whereas in Vietnam, I started dating my wife and she still lived with her family at 28. Crazy, right? But that's one of the things I love. Because when I was dating my wife, obviously I approached her for her beauty. When I saw her family values and the way she took care of her nephews and nieces, I said, that's wifey material. I'm marrying this girl for sure.
Wife material.
And here we are now, 4 years of marriage. And yeah, up until now, I was still living with her family in Vietnam. So that aspect of Vietnamese culture, I think Americans could adopt, because in America, it seems like if you live at your mom's house past the age of 21, 22, you're kind of like a bum. But really, you should value the time you have with your family, in my opinion. That's all I have for you today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, 10 differences between America and Vietnam, according to Phuc Mop. Of course, there are some that I might have missed, so let me know down in the comments. And if you didn't like the video, hit the dislike button 2 times to let me know how much you don't like me. Now, make sure you subscribe to the channel because towards the end of the month, Nanlite gave me some more goodies for all of you. I'll be doing a huge giveaway around Thanksgiving. I have a Forza 60B studio light, some Pavo tubes back here, and more prizes for my audience to win. If you haven't already, follow me on social media, especially Instagram, because that Vietnamese word of the day has been taking off. The next time your wife asks you to do a chore, go somewhere you don't want to go, just look at her and you say, Có ích gì. Thank me later. The Vietnamese in America seem to love it. I gained a lot of new followers, so that's going to keep going on there. And one more time, a big thanks to my friends over at KingCom for giving me this Zeppin slider. This thing is great. I think it made the video that much better. Until next time, hang God ply and chúc mừng năm mới.